It is 6 o'clock, and we are convening the January 2nd meeting of the Concord Select Board.
We'll talk later. Okay.
Would you please call the roll, Mary?
I will. Ms. Escobedo? Ms. Escobedo, are you here?
Hi.
Thank you. Ms. Ackerman?
Present.
Mr. Dane?
Present.
Myself, Mary Hartman, here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Tonight, this meeting has been convened primarily as the last opportunity we have to review a number of items that are going to be part of the annual town meeting warrant, which closes tomorrow, and to conduct other administrative business. And therefore, we are abbreviating the agenda for this meeting, which we'd originally advertised as one that was only as necessary, and so that we will have no public comment. We will have no town manager's report, no chair's report, and no committee liaison reports, but we'll move straight to our business, which we hope to complete as expeditiously as possible. So we first start with the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Ms. Escobedo?
Aye.
Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Mr. Dane?
Aye.
And myself, Mary Hartman, aye.
Thank you. All right, and the next item on the agenda is committee appointments.
Move to appoint Tanya Bartavayan of 62 Prescott Road to the Concord Center Cultural Task Force for a term to expire December 31, 2024, or at the completion of the work of the task force. Move to appoint Richard Fallander of 399 Old Bedford Road to the Concord Center Cultural Task Force for a term to expire December 31, 2024, or at the completion of the work of the task force. Move to correctively appoint Timothy Whitney of 315 Lexington Road to the Historic Districts Commission as the Planning Board full member representative for a term to expire January 1, 2029. Move to appoint Walter Clay of 675 Sudbury Road to the Historic Districts Commission as the Planning Board associate representative for a term to expire January 1, 2029.
Second.
Ms. Escobedo?
Yes, aye.
Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Mr. Dane?
Aye.
And myself, Mary Hartman, aye.
Thank you. We have the next, the next item is to approve the Select Board annual license renewals.
There aren't any. Oh, yes, there are, sorry. There are.
Yes, so we did the bulk of them at the last meeting on December 18th, but we just have a couple late license renewals. The ABCC had recently approved the new liquor license for Bandoleros, so we have to renew their license as it was approved by the ABCC in 2023. And then we have 4 tour guide licenses that also need to be approved.
Good. Move to approve the additional 2024 Select Board annual license renewals as presented by Shannon and in the Select Board meeting packet.
Second.
Ms. Escobedo?
Aye.
Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Mr. Dane?
Aye.
And myself, Mary Hartman, aye.
Okay.
Wow,
All right.
way ahead.
So now, the next item is to review our proposed articles for the 2024 annual town meeting warrant. We have put together a list of warrant articles that have been submitted on, by various town boards, committees, and individuals as petitioners. While the statutory process for items to go on to the town meeting warrant either calls for the Select Board to place them on the warrant or for them to be placed on the warrant by petition, with several notable exceptions, such as the CPA and the school committee budget. What we have, since we have, what we've decided to do this year, rather than to adopt any other process, which we might be considering going forward in the future, is to take the whole list and without sponsoring or endorsing any of the articles that have been presented, to ask the town moderator to accept this whole entire list that's attached to our minutes as items that will be placed upon the town meeting warrant, with any additions that come in by petition before the deadline tomorrow, or any changes to those proposed articles that might be presented by petition before the deadline tomorrow. And so that whole list is attached and will be on the town meeting warrant, subject to the approval of the town moderator, to the extent that they satisfy her requirements for what can be placed on the warrant. Is there any discussion of this? All right.
Ready for a motion?
Yes, I am.
Move to accept proposed warrant articles for the 2024 annual town meeting warrant as listed in the exhibit of the Select Board meeting agenda.
Second.
Ms. Escobedo?
Aye.
Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Mr. Dane?
Aye.
And myself, Mary Hartman, aye.
Thank you.
I have a quick question or comment. This looks like a shorter list than usual, which is fine with me, but this is it, plus whatever we get tomorrow, right?
This is it.
This is it. It looks like we only have like about 30-something articles.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Maybe we'll be done in 2 nights. Fine with me.
All right. So the next item on the budget on the agenda is the update on fiscal year 2025 budget.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to,
This is Linda. Before you go there, can I just ask a question about, we will not then be in any way recommending any kind of order for the warrant articles, at least those that we have to date?
Linda, it will be on our agenda for our our next meeting, January 8th.
Yep.
We will then,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
okay, and for this item, I'd like to introduce Anthony Ansaldi, our Chief Financial Officer.
Good evening
Yes.
and Happy New Year to everybody. So, all right, thanks, Shannon. All right, great. So what we want to do is provide you an update from the last time we talked about where we were with the operating capital budget. Was on December 18th at your meeting. And we have a update. We've done a tremendous amount of work to it. And just to remind you where we were a couple weeks ago, we were basically 6.82% above still the guidelines on the operating budget. And on the capital, we still were above the guidelines set at 2.18 million. We were at 2.34 million. So our team went to work and had an opportunity to make some adjustments, and I'm happy to report that although we have not yet met the guidelines, and we fully intend to make the guidelines, that's the message that the town manager has passed on to us, and we're working diligently to get there. We're not, can you hit the next slide for me, Sharon? Thank you. So on the next slide, where we've made considerable progress, we're 3.84% above the guidelines on the operating budget. And on the capital project, I'm happy to say that we have a final product for both Tier 1 and Tier 2. So the Tier 1 budget is set at the guidelines amount of $2.18 million. All right, some of the spending drivers, next slide. Some of the spending drivers still are out there as salary reserve, which we're working towards, we have some unsettled collective bargaining agreement, so we're working towards a personnel number, which I think will be a significant piece of our difference. Ceremony and celebrations, $100,000, and of which the remainder is to be funded outside the guidelines. Kerry, correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about that would be from free cash, the remainder of the
Yes, and the warrant article submitted by the 250th Committee has actually been amended to include that $100,000, or I think it's I think they added $85,000 to their funding request for free cash. So it's moving out of the budget into their warrant article.
And
much?
what?
Into their warrant article.
So their warrant article was originally, we expected it to be 350,000, and now you're saying it's going to be 435,000
No, the way it was presented is inclusive
of the 350?
of the
I'm sorry.
parade expense.
Great.
Yes.
So it's 350 is still the amount of the,
I'm just going to double check to make sure there's nothing different. If you want to just go up,
Sure,
I'll
okay.
come
I have
back to
another
that.
question about that. So it says 100,000 reflects the 250 celebration to be funded outside the guidelines. Is that in addition to this change in the warrant article, or?
That's, I think Kerry was just researching. And I was gonna continue
Okay.
on. We're gonna get back to that
All right.
when she's ready. And the last driver is a $140,000 increase for a plumbing inspector, full-time, for an additional plumbing inspector, and a part-time building inspector. Both are still challenges to be able to fund those.
Anthony, when you say spending drivers, what do you mean by that?
Well, cost drivers, some of those increases that are driving that for us to still be above the guidelines.
Okay, okay.
Drivers of the excess over the
Yes, thank you,
guidelines.
Henry.
That's what, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So in the next, I won't go through
Duh.
this, but these are the projects that made it to Tier 1 capital funding, and Tier 1 cash or pay-as-you-go is another often referred to it too. And then the next slide is where we stand on the Tier 2 debt, of which we met our goal of coming in at $4.1 million for debt projects for next fiscal year.
Could you provide us with the slide deck, so that, because some of these numbers are
Yeah,
too small
too
to
small.
read? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Shannon has that. I'm sure we can get that out to you in an email and have it posted on the website too.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Anthony, I don't know if you're aware, I don't know what your process is, how you picked and chose which ones to fund and not, but there's a letter that somehow fell through the cracks that you haven't gotten yet from the Transportation Committee endorsing, I believe, all of the road pavement management that was requested and some other public works capital plans, and hopefully you'll get that letter tomorrow. But, and that's just a committee stating what their opinion
Yeah,
is.
it was forwarded to us and.
Oh, you did get it?
Yeah, we did. And there's a,
Good.
There was a lot to consider. And what we're also looking at is we're going back on some of the old projects that still are out there. And I think that there's still additional money out there in all those areas that work still needs to be done. So we're still working on that. You know, obviously, we'd like to have funded a lot more.
Right.
But we just can't. So
Right.
difficult discussions and decisions ultimately had to be made. And, you know, we huddled with the town manager and with department heads, and they all understand the struggles and the pressures that we have. And
Right, right,
we're trying to do the best we can with what we have.
right, I understand. Yep.
Are you anticipating anything incremental to this for the roads?
Not for fiscal '25. I think we had hoped we would be in a better position to put something forward, but we're just not able to do that within the timetable, and we don't want to rush it. We also think that the information that's coming out of the transportation study will help
Yeah.
us put together a better program. So we would be looking at that for the 2025 annual town meeting versus this one this year.
So how much do we have for roads in this year's budget, all told?
We added an additional $120,000 there, plus they have the $600,000 for Chapter 90, 600 or 650,000 for Chapter 90 money. So altogether, it's just shy of $3 million.
Okay, thank you.
And the request was 4 million and
More
something?
and change, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Well, getting there, okay.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying. So the next slide just talks about the additional timetable going forward. Obviously, I'm here for you tonight to talk about this. We thought that there was a select board meeting on the 16th. I think that was a misunderstanding. I don't think you're meeting now till the 19th. Is that correct? Or
The 8th and then the 29th.
the 8th. So certainly I can come back next meeting and hopefully we'll have some more progress on that operating, closing that gap. So I'm happy to do another brief update next week. And then on the next meeting after that, we can tell you how we met the guidelines and that the FinCom set forth.
And if you're ready, I can go back to the 250th. So the 250th committee submitted a revised budget. I believe you've seen that, for a total of $1,050,000.
Yep.
So 500,000 of that is ARPA, 200,000 of that is from the state
Yep.
through a grant we received. Their new request is for 350.
Great.
Included in that 350 is the 85,000 for the parade.
Got it.
So that's out of the budget. The parade budget in the fiscal '25 budget will be just slightly higher than what we typically carry, and but not the additional increment to fund, essentially to fund the additional public safety costs associated with the parade, if that makes sense.
So I still don't really understand in the slide where it
The
says.
slide needs to be updated.
Yes, it needs to be updated.
Oh, so what should it say?
I think it would just not list that as a driver. Yeah.
Because it's addressed in a separate
So
line.
there is no 100,000 outside the guideline?
Correct.
Okay, now I understand.
Right.
Thank you.
We started with an assumption that we would include it, but then it didn't make sense because we couldn't include it, we couldn't fund it within the guideline.
Got it.
And then
I
it
got it
didn't
now.
make sense to have an incremental adjustment to the budget for a one-time.
Right, okay, thank you.
So that the entire amount for the 2024 celebration, including the parade, will be up before the town meeting as part of a requested $350,000 appropriation.
That's correct.
And there will be nothing in addition to that.
Correct.
And you said 200,000 is part of that state money that we got?
That was
From a state grant,
previous.
yeah.
Right, and
That's the
the,
existing 700,000
Yeah.
that we have had.
So when they go in front
well,
of the...
wait a minute, so what was the 500,000?
The 500,000 is from ARPA,
Oh, that's what I was missing, thank you.
and that's from fiscal '24 ARPA.
Right, right.
And the 350 that we're going to town meeting to ask for from free cash, 85 of that will be for the parade, and the remainder is for public safety?
Public safety.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. I think that does it.
I think it does.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Ms. Escobedo?
Yes, aye.
Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Mr. Dane?
Aye.
And myself, Mary Hartman, aye.
Aye. Thank you.